Okay, this is lesson 8. This is a rather long lesson, and I'm going to go fairly quickly on it so that we're not watching YouTube videos all day. This is areas, we're going to find areas of rectangles, triangles, circles, and trapezoids. Hopefully this is totally a review for you, so it's not going to be difficult. Okay, the first one we have is this figure right here. Hopefully I can see my little pencil thing there. So this is basically two rectangles put together, and we're to find the area. And if you remember, the area of a rectangle, that looks more like a square, but a rectangle is length times width. So what we're going to do on this, we can divide it up in two ways. We can either divide it up and do this rectangle and find the area of this rectangle, or we can extend it this way and do this rectangle and this remaining rectangle. I broke it up this way, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to find the area of this rectangle, length times width, and that area is 10. I'll put the units in at the end. Whenever you do any sort of area, you need to have units in your answers, as long as units are given. So this one is given in centimeters. So our answer will have to be in centimeters. And then we have this area is length times width. 4 times 2 is 8. And so we just add the two areas together and we would get 18 centimeters. Area is always squared. Area is this is just made up of a bunch of squares, and you're basically adding all the squares up. Sorry, I can't draw a straight line with my little thing here. So basically we have 10 squares. So we have 10 squares in this one, 8 squares, 1 by 1 squares, and if we add them together we get 18 square centimeters, centimeter by centimeter. Okay, this one's a little bit different. We're to find the shaded portion of this figure. All angles are right angles, which lets us know that we have rectangles that we're dealing with. So all we do in this one is we find the area of the big rectangle and we subtract from it the area of the white rectangle, and that will give us the area of the shaded rectangle. So we just find the large rectangle. It's 10 by 8. So the whole thing is going to be 80. And this one is in meters. So it's going to be 80 meters, and we're going to subtract off the area of this little one. And that would be 6 times 2, so that would be 12. So we subtract that off. So it's 80 minus 12, and we're going to get 68. Remember, area is going to be squared, and you always have to have units. So that's all in finding the area of rectangles. Let's move to triangles. Triangles, you have to know the formula. The area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times height. The height is the altitude of the triangle. The base is the bottom. When you have a right triangle, the one side is always the altitude. So if we're going to find the area of this triangle, we would just take 1/2 the base, which is 4, times the height, which is 3, and that would be 1/2 of 12, so we would get 6, and this one is in inches, so it would be square inches. Just remember, area is always going to be squared units. Okay, this one's a little bit different. The altitude is in the middle because it's not a right triangle. That's the height of the triangle. So it's the same thing. We would just take 1/2 base times height. And then finally this one down here, you have to draw yourself an altitude, or they'll give you an altitude if it's outside of the triangle. So we're just going to extend the base and draw our altitude. So we would do the same thing. So the area of all three of these triangles, 1/2 base times height, is going to be 6 inches squared. You can see I'm going really quick because I know you've done this since you were in basic math. Okay, let's look at another triangle. This triangle looks tricky. It looks like maybe we should draw an altitude down here. But you'll notice when you have this symbol in the corner that it's a right triangle. So this would be our base, and this would be the height, or this would be the base, and this would be the height. It doesn't matter. So if we would turn this triangle over, excuse my lines again, we would get something like this, and we would get our 6 and our 8. So you can see it if you just rotate a little bit. So you would find the area of this triangle is just 1/2 base, which is 6, times height. Or you could do 8 times 6. It doesn't matter. In multiplication, you can multiply in any order. So I'm just going to take this, goes into that 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. And again, the units for this one is in feet. So you would have square feet. If you don't put the units on your problems, you automatically miss a point on your test. Units are very important. Okay, let's move very quickly to circles. The area of a circle is pi r squared. I think in this book you can just leave pi in your answer. Actually, no, they multiply it out. I don't care if you leave pi in your answers until we can use calculators. We're not using calculators yet, so I don't want you to have to multiply all those numbers out. So if I want to find the area of this circle, the radius is 3 centimeters. So I would just say the area equals pi times 3 squared, and you square that, and so the area of that circle would just be 9 pi. In the book they do multiply that. They take 9 times 3.14. You can do that without a calculator, or you can just leave it like this, but you have to have units on it. So you'd say 9 pi, and the units of this is in centimeters, so you would say centimeters squared. So you can just leave it in that, or you can multiply it out, and you just make sure you put centimeters squared on it. Okay, this one's a little bit trickier. This one gives you the area of the circle, and you have to find out what the radius is. It's in meters. So just remember our formula is area equals pi r squared. This time we have the a, so I can put the 25 where the a is and solve it for the r squared. And that would be what our answer is. So they actually, in this one, put in the 3.15 for pi, 1/4, and they divide it, both sides, by 3.14. And this might be something that will be a lot easier for you once we get through this. This one's actually advanced for what you're going to be doing. So I'm not exactly sure how they want you to do this without some of the skills that you need to learn, because you need to know how to do square root and all kinds of things. So I'm not actually going to explain this one. You can just leave pi and solve for r squared. You can divide both sides by 3.14, which we have not yet learned. And this is one of those problems where the book is ahead of where we're at. So you would just divide that, and we will get to that when we get to more on how to solve equations. So just skip these for right now. Okay, let's look at a couple more and we will be done. Okay, here's a figure they want you to find the area of. In order to do this, you need to divide it into different segments that you can find the area of up. So I'm going to take and divide this shape. I'm going to drop a dotted line. It's supposed to be perpendicular. Down there and down there. And what I've done is I've created 3 shapes. I have a half of a circle, a rectangle shape, and a triangle. So we just need to figure out what the sides of this rectangle and how much is left for the triangle. Now we know that this height right here, if we would straighten this radius up this way, we know we're going to get 2 here. And if we straighten the radius up, or from the center to any points, it's also going to be 2. So we know that this is going to be 4. We know that if these are perpendicular, that this one down here is going to be 5. From here to here, it's 5, the same as this one. And if this whole side is 7, this little piece is going to be 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to figure out the area of a half a circle, a rectangle, and a triangle and add those all together. So let's just start left to right. Let's just do this triangle. So we have the triangle. We can call this section A, B, and C. So we know that A equals 1/2 base times height, which is 4. And this crosses out with that, and you get 4. So the area of the triangle is 4, and it's in inches, so I'm just going to put that there, inches squared. Okay, let's go on to B. These are the easy ones. B is just length times width, so it's just going to be 4 times 7, and we get 28 inches squared. And then, oops, 4 times 5. Where did I get 7? Sorry about that. 4, there's our 5. 4 times 5. And that's 20 inches squared. And then finally we have to do half of a circle. So remember, a circle is pi r squared. So we would put our pi, and our radius is 2 squared. So it's going to be 4 pi. And again, I'll let you leave the pi in there. So we're going to add all of them together. This is the inches squared. So if we add them all together, we're going to get 24 plus 4 pi, and this units for all of this is inches squared. If you want to match the answer in the back of the book, you can multiply 3 times 3.14 and add it to 24, and you'll get an answer in the back of the book, which, if you're curious, is 30.28 inches squared. So in these kinds, you just need to figure out how to divide them up and then find the area of each part. Okay, the last one, we're going to find the area of a trapezoid. These are actually easier than they look. All we're going to do is we're going to take and divide our trapezoid into 2 triangles, like that, and we're going to find the area of the triangles and add them together. So we can call this one A and this one B. So we don't really care about this side. What we really need is the base of this triangle and the height. This height right here. This is drawing the extension onto the triangle. So this height would be 4. So the area of this triangle, A, is 4 1/2, 4 times 15. And I can take this 2 into the 4 and get a 2. And so the area of A is just going to be 30. And it's in meters squared, so we would write in meters, so we'd write meters squared. And then the area of B, the base of this triangle is 9, so we'd want 1/2. Our base is 9, and our height, once again, is this one right here. It's not this side, they're trying to trick you. The height is the altitude is the perpendicular distance. So again, you have to extend it times 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and we would get the base, or the area of B is going to be if I can multiply this together, is 18 meters squared. And to get the area of the whole thing, you just add those 2 together. So the area of the whole thing is 48 meters squared. So that was a long video, but hopefully it was helpful, and hopefully it was a review. Anything that you didn't get in this, we'll do in class until you get it.